Hey everyone, welcome back to Go Kick Me, your favorite crowdfunding news and reviews channel here on YouTube. So today we're going to talk about what's actually an Indiegogo and a Kickstarter project called Moasure 1. This was, I guess, crowdfunding a couple months ago, and now it's in demand. Yeah, so it finished like in April. It's in demand, I got a comment. It's in demand here on Indiegogo after being successfully crowdfunded for something like $250,000. So what is Moasure 1? Moasure 1 is the world's first motion measuring tool, they claim. Measure 24 different ways to just by moving around, all in one compact measuring tool for 3D, 2D, circumference, angles, levels, and more. So I just did an AR measurement device, basically an extension on a phone, like last week. So I thought, oh, this is very timely. Even though this one's not new, somehow I missed it when it came out. So basically this hockey puck thing has some accelerometers and basically magnetometers to measure angle and distance, and so, or actually to measure acceleration and angle. And when you move it from one spot to another, it measures your acceleration and therefore can estimate distance. Basically, you integrate time over twice. Wow, I'm super popular today. Someone's leaving comments while I'm
Back to Go.
while I'm recording. Thank you, Odin's son. Doesn't like my comment. You're welcome. Anyway, back to the review. So basically, you can, accelerometers nowadays are very small and pretty accurate, and so yeah, you can estimate distance. And as long as you're nice and smooth, maybe you can actually get it pretty accurate. So let's watch the video really quickly. They show it, and they show it for better and for worse, what it's good for, and maybe some problems it has.
So you want a quick way to measure stuff. What if you could measure anything just by walking? This is Moasure 1. It can measure as far as a 1,000-foot tape measure. Measure through walls and obstacles as if they weren't there. Measure winding cable lines or tracks. Measure angles and curves. Calculate the area of a room, volume for storage, or a shipping package.
So yeah, basically you just go from one corner to the other, and this thing, I guess, can figure out waypoints or something, and then it can be used to calculate. So the app here doesn't go into too much detail, or in the video they don't go into too much detail on how the app stores, these 3D measurements, and comes up with these angles. But
get the right incline for your decking or stairwell photos.
Apparently it can.
Find the right horizontal level and distance for your poster frames. Measure circular objects, cylinders, even irregular shapes. All with one hand. Just need to move it from one point to the other, and you're done. Other measuring tools fail when there's too much light, the wrong surface, or if the space prevents them. Because it doesn't use lasers or a camera, Moasure 1 isn't restricted by light or space.
So this is a sort of the benefit, and again the sort of sticking point for me. One of the detriments. It's great because, like, let's say there's an obstacle here. You just walk from here, climb over, whatever, put it down there. You don't have to shine a laser beam to get a distance. But then again, on the other hand, if you're measuring, let's say the windows or whatever. Let's say you had to measure that height. Oops, you need a ladder, right? Whereas if you were doing, say, one of those AR ones, which takes a photo or uses a laser rangefinder from a distance, you could see the entire thing. You could measure all the corners of the windows without having to actually climb up there and touch it with this thing. So benefits and also some drawbacks.
Some foot tape measure through cylinders, even irregular shapes. All with one hand. Just need to move it from one point to the other.
So this is the other issue, is like, okay, I guess if it assume this is on a plane and this is on a plane, it could figure out the distance between them. But like, if you wanted to get, I'm just worried, like, how precise are you going to place this? Are you going to place it like, see here? So they're measuring from this corner, I guess, And okay, you're already off by a 16th or an eighth there. And then when you're measuring there, okay, did you get at the exact same spot? Are you measuring the entire thing like they show here in the line? No, you're actually measuring somewhere on the inside from one point over here to one point over there. So good for like measuring, you know, the approximate floor space of your house, or, you know, this overall distance for figuring out how long to make, I don't know, like a hose or a wire or something like that, where it's a matter of inches is probably good enough, or even, you know, within a couple feet is enough. I wouldn't be measuring things too closely, and they do acknowledge that in the documentation here. So yeah, it does all this cool stuff.
Matter the circumstance. Moasure 1 is waterproof, dustproof, and shockproof.
That's good.
Your recordings are immediately saved in the app, which is already being sold in the App Store. The app also turns your phone into a rudimentary Moasure device.
So this is one of the key things. Okay, I think I mentioned it uses accelerometers and magnetometers and whatnot. Your phone actually has those exact same sensors already in them. So what does Moasure 1, this measurement device, get you that you couldn't do with just using the phone? I guess you get a more precise corner or whatever, but in fact it's actually all the information can be derived, the exact same information can be derived from the phone. Maybe you don't want to be running your phone around outside in a dirty place, but basically, like if you're measuring, like the width of your coffee table, you could just use the phone. The app costs
70,000 downloads and a solid 4-star rating from.
The app costs like $5, right? So why should I spend not just 95, not just 130, but in fact, like the regular price is something like $150 US. Why should I spend that much when I could just use this $5 app?
So, how does it work? Moasure 1 uses an advanced technology called motion measuring.
I think it's also called like inertial guidance or inertial dead
Motion
reckoning.
Measuring is the same technology.
I guess because you're using the compass, it's a little bit different, but
rocket
yeah.
guidance systems to accurately
Gyroscopes,
track the movement
basically.
and locations of rockets in 3D space. Using gyros, accelerometers, and magnetometers, Moasure 1 plots its three-dimensional position in any space to measure.
So nowadays, correct me if I'm wrong, there's basically MEM sensors, which are all of those in one chip. So basically not all they've done, but basically what they've done is they've taken one or more chips that include those three things: magnetometer, gyroscope, 3-axis gyroscope, 3-axis accelerometer, put it on a board with Bluetooth and a battery, and stuck it in that nice case.
Distance, angle, level, and much more. Moasure is the first motion measure device ever made for consumer use. It puts the same technology found in rockets in the palm of your hand.
So that's the part I don't get. That's the part, you have to excuse the screaming outside. That's the part I don't get. It's actually not the first device ever for consumer use, because your phone, which isn't the first device either, it's a freaking Wii remote with the measurement app added to it.
Made for consumer use. It puts the same technology found in rockets in the palm of your hand. So what are you waiting for? Back our campaign now and step into the future of measuring with Moasure 1.
So I would say, yeah, like just the fact that it is redundant of what's on your phone already. So just use the app without getting the hardware. 99 times out of 100, that's probably good for most people's use case. Like you could still use your phone here, when just get a case. It's good for some things like measuring here. Here you need to start using the stick. At this point, using the AR thing with a laser, like the ARM that I have reviewed last week, actually would probably be a lot faster and probably less dangerous. You're not climbing up or swinging a selfie stick around. Some stuff is actually pretty unique. Like if I really, for some reason, needed to measure from here to here, and let's say this was a solid wall and not something that you could just take a photo of, this would definitely be useful if you want to do kind of complex shapes, I guess, just by zooming around. Really depends on how the app treats those spaces. Can you output the file like with the waypoints or whatever? Yeah, so they go through and they actually do mention all the things you can measure, and they also list accuracies down here and sort of procedures for getting them. Accuracies are decent, actually pretty decent. It's like 0.5%, so 0.5%. And so yeah, if you're doing what is it? If you're doing like a 10-foot thing, you'll be off by like half an inch, 0.6 inches. So yeah, if you're measuring carpet or something that you can trim once you've put it out there, that's actually probably okay. You're going to want some extra space and then trim it anyway. Whatever, wiring, pipes, stuff like that, especially things like across a house for consumer use is actually probably decent, good enough. They actually mention measuring multiple times to get a better result, which is good. And the only other thing is like, because it's using inertial dead reckoning, how smoothly you move it and how much you move it actually affects the accuracy. So for example, if I'm measuring from point A to point B and I walk directly, the amount of error would be probably a lot less than if I walk the same distance and then zigzag back and forth, because I'm basically going, the distance is further, so therefore the error is compounding further. So that's just inherent with this dead reckoning system. If they somehow put a laser on here and you had an external point of reference, I'm sure the accuracy would go way, way up. Anyway, so yeah, timeline-wise, here's the accuracy. That's probably good enough for most people. For hanging a picture, sure, why not? They've been working on this thing since 2014. They are going to start, I guess, to the people who did the Kickstarter, the crowdfunding campaign, November. If you order now, it's December on in demand. So that's not bad. One thing I really like, they actually have names and faces. The guy has a last name. It's not Nato and Vincent, it's Alan Rock. And he's got decades of experience. Actually, if I had to say something, I would say that this is like, these guys seem very seasoned. So who's the tech? This guy, Edward, I guess, is the one writing the app. Yeah, so I don't want to be an ageist or whatever, but it seems like they have a lot of experience, which is probably pretty good. And they actually have the app out already, which is good. That's a big step. They've covered all their bases, design flaws, parts. They got 50 different components, so they're expecting some of them to not be delivered on time. They've got Trevor Tapping with 30 years of experience in manufacturing. I don't know, 30 years ago, manufacturing is a lot different than now. Nowadays, manufacturing means you can go to South China and find a factory to make it for you. They don't actually mention where this thing is made, but I'm guessing the electronics are going to come from there. We have over 85 years. Yeah, I guess between these guys. That's 8 guys, so 10 years plus. And these two are in the decades between them. So anyway, I'm not a young person, so I shouldn't be judging. Pretty well done campaign. They've got a very extensive FAQ, almost too extensive. Is it patented? Could it become collectible? I don't know why. They just want to make you buy a second one. They got a return policy. They have a policy even if you can't return it. They have a warranty, which is good. They answer a lot of questions about accuracy, etc., etc. So I like the fact that they've done a decent job. They actually answer comments pretty decently. As well, this is for the Kickstarter, so it's a couple days out of date. But even for the in-demand Indiegogo, they're answering questions. They've got updates as of like this week. So apparently this thing is moving forward, and you can start, getting a belt pouch and other stuff. So they've been quite good, like two updates in basically 2 weeks. So they're keeping people up to date. So here in this case, because this is the in-demand one, you can see right now they want $140 for this. Personally, I would say go and buy the app The app is right here. Actually, also, I suggest you check out the ratings on the apps. So these three are actually pretty not super positive. This one's a bit old. This one, actually, they're all from last year. This guy says it's very good, but sort of not super accurate. So they even mention this in the FAQ, like this doesn't replace a tape measure or a ruler or a level for, especially like micro measurements. So like they said, I think like drilling holes in a board, you don't want to have it plus or minus whatever, an eighth of an inch. You want it really precise. So, and again, I would say this really depends on your usage too. Make sure you get the thing exactly square, get the corner right in the right spot. That would probably make a huge impact on the results. So in some cases it's better to use like a T-square and a real ruler and draw lines and make sure everything's accurate, not just depend on this thing. So anyway, Moasure 1, I don't know what to say. I would say I give the app and the concept a thumbs up. I give the physical Moasure 1 thing a neutral, and I give the price a thumbs down. How does that sound? Because literally there's nothing in here that should cost $150. I actually do have a background in MEMS. Good old ADXL 180. The ADXL series, this is basically a MEMS accelerometer, which is, there's at least 3 of them in here, and there's the gyroscope versions as well. These things have been out for decades. There's a whole series of them, special purpose, I don't know. These things are used for, tilt, shock, vibration, blah, blah, blah. They're used in airbag sensors. They've been in airbag sensors for decades, since the 90s, early 90s, or late 80s even. And so, there's nothing about these things that, like when they're bought in bulk, they cost like $1. Here you go, inertial measurement units. So this is probably, if not the one in there, the same as the one in there. So what do we got? We got all kinds of different types. They got degrees of freedom, they got gyro inputs, they got stability. So this is, getting your angular random walk, blah, blah, blah. It's been such a long time since I've really gotten into this. But basically you could find out the error in the acceleration, and then you could calculate, 7 degrees. What is it measuring 7 degrees? I wonder. Basically, you could figure out like how accurate these things are, and then if you were integrating twice, how accurate is it for measuring distances? That also depends on their sampling and their app and whatnot. So we got triaxial digital accelerometer. We got a barometer. I guess that's the 7th degree. You can tell. I guess it could tell altitude based on the air pressure change, maybe? Interesting. I guess that's where the 7th degree is. Why not put a temperature sensor in there while you're at it? So, I don't know if I ordered this one's probably pretty fancy. Probably costs more than $1. But literally, like, these are the same things. Okay, sample and buy. Price! So is that the price for 1,000 plus? Wow, that's pretty expensive. But I think that's with the test board or not. So accelerometer chips. I mean, you have them in your phone. You've got them in your. Let's find a cheap one, just because. You've got them in your phone. You've got them in everything. You got in your Wii remote. Those things cost a couple dollars. Okay, obviously. Well, this is not even a crowdfunding. It's in demand. So, other people have already paid for the development. Okay, so this one, if you bought 1,000, would be $150. Definitely not the. Oh, is this in Hong Kong dollars? Maybe it's because it's in Hong Kong dollars. Probably not. Anyway, here's the evaluation boards. $300. Definitely the price is lower than this for inertial guidance systems, inertial measurement systems. So anyhow, that's my semi-domain knowledge-based view on this thing. Interesting concept, interesting implementation. I just don't really like the price, I guess is what I would say. If you made this thing $49, okay, that's pretty good. Made it $29, okay, really good. You want to disrupt the tape measure industry, make it super cheap, or just really push the app a lot more, because the app can basically do everything that this thing can do with probably almost equal accuracy. I can't imagine the sensors in here are going to be better than the ones in your phone. So anyway, just go to the App Store, look for Moasure, give it a try. You're out $6, worst case. Not so bad. Okay, so anyway, that's it for today on Go Kick Me. If you're from Moasure and you want to send me a sample so I can try it out, maybe I'll give a hands-on review. I'd love to do that. I live in Hong Kong. Send me an email or direct message on Facebook or Twitter. Check us out there at Go Kick Me and also GoKickMedia.com. I'll try to put a link to this app as well as to, I guess, here. And that will be an affiliate link. So if you did buy Moasure through Kickstarter, Indigo, or whatever, I would get a commission, so help support the channel, even though I do think this is a little bit expensive. Okay, so that's it for today. See you guys next time here on Go Kick Me. Bye.